All right, welcome, Mushin Warriors, to another episode of Mushin Mental Academy, where our purpose is to provide tools for engagement and presence. Today's episode, I want to talk about the word sorry and what it means to be sorry, how we utilize the phrase, how I utilize it, and just a little bit of a dive into that because I feel that there's a lot of misuse around this particular subject, and honestly, it bothers me. Like it bugs me. Like while I'm around and I see it, it's one of those things that triggers me. It catches my attention. I'm like, why is this occurring? So let's jump into what I notice when I'm experiencing this around me and what it is that triggers me in its usage. Let's jump in. So, what does it mean? What does it mean to be sorry? What is that? Well, sorry is, in my opinion, a communicative word. It is utilized for sharing and for the ability to connect and create this link between our inner world or environment and the outside world and environment, or the one that we see here, let's say. And the reason that I define it this way is because to be sorry is to express remorse or penitence for either something we've done or to express that we feel the same distress that someone else is feeling. You could say, I feel sorry with you, or I'm sorry for your loss or whatnot. So it's utilized in those terms to show, you know, solidarity, say that we're together in this, say I feel your distress as well, right? Or we utilize the word to often when I see it honestly compensate for an action or situation that has either just occurred or is on the topic, let's just say. And so most often we'll see sorry used like that. Like yesterday I saw sorry or I heard sorry used so many times out in public for the weirdest situations. So like I'll be walking around in public and I'm holding the door. And so someone starts approaching me and I literally hold the door open for this person. We both smile and they look at me and then they go, sorry, and walk by. I'm like, for what? So like that's actually a really good example to talk about my feelings and why I feel the need to make this video. It's because that moment, what they're doing is they're turning this word sorry into something that is like in their expression of it valuable. So they're saying by me saying sorry, I'm giving you something. I'm giving you a thing. And it's a very strange exchange because to me at least, it isn't truthful. It isn't real. It's fake. It's fugazi. Like it's literally not real. So like we'll be in this situation, I'm holding the door open. This person, is looking at me. We're smiling. So that in itself, for example, to me is the engagement. Like this engagement is like we're sharing this moment, this connection, and they're giving me their attention. That's like ultimately the only thing we have to give anyway. And so when they're coming in, they're giving me the attention. They're giving me, a thank you or something like that. But when they come in and do the sorry, it's like it's it's a sellout. It's yeah, that's how it feels to me anyway. And this topic might be a little triggering depending on who, the lens of who's receiving it. And I'm not claiming to be right. I'm just giving you my opinion and telling you how I feel on the topic. So process this however you will. But, in this particular situation, I feel that it's a cop out, So like as they're approaching me and I open the door, they're saying sorry. It's like they either had the feeling inside of like, oh, I don't know if I should go or I shouldn't, and they're resolving it by just being like, well, I don't know, so I'm just gonna say like I'm just gonna assume I'm wrong and apologize for the situation. Like I'm going in anyway, and I'm gonna say sorry, which already is like messed up in my opinion. It's a backwards approach because you're apologize like you're to say sorry, in my opinion, is to say that you are assessing the situation, your own self and your actions in their completion as systems, and then deciding that the way that you handled it or approached it just didn't sync up. It didn't coordinate. It didn't match. It didn't meet, right? Because otherwise, like, what is it? It's just a mistake. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm in harmony with myself and I'm being who I am, and I step on someone's foot, of course, I feel like I do feel bad because I don't want this person to feel that way. And maybe the way to communicate it would be expressing, oh, hey, I feel really bad that I stepped on your foot. That would be truthful, right? In my opinion, to say sorry is saying, like, I regret stepping on your foot. That's the difference in my definition for how I utilize sorry from how I often hear it around me. Um, because if you were to step on this person's foot, it's either you say sorry because you realize like, oh my goodness, like I was out of it. Like I literally wasn't being myself. And it's like I'm sorry. Like I let myself get into a position where I wasn't me. My attention was here and I did this, like, sorry. Cool. I can understand that usage of it. It's saying, hey, like that, like whoever that was, that version that was there, like it wasn't me, and it wasn't the me that you're engaging with now, so I'm killing it off in front of you. That's what sorry means to me. It's saying that I'm shooting that older version of me because that particular version wasn't really me, you see? And that's why like it's not that like it's supposed to be painful or not painful. I think that that's the confusion, is that people feel that you have to hurt to be sorry, or you have to like hurt yourself further to be sorry. To me, that's like sorry is the communication about it. The feeling and the action, all the other stuff, that's already done. That's already happened. You've done whatever it is. The sorry comes afterwards. And so that's why I feel the need to talk about it so much, is because I feel that by misunderstanding its utility or what it is, it has the capability of twisting these logical circuits within people so that they feel that that's the way they should go about. And so I see people do this, like there are specific people where I see them like literally utilize sorry as a valuable like thing or product, something that they have the option to give away and utilize, and they give it in such a way that isn't true to me, you know? So like someone will literally like say sorry before doing something. I've seen that happen multiple times, which I think is it's absurd. It's saying, "Hey, like I regret this. I'm gonna do it anyway." Like that's like the epitome, in my opinion, of contradicting yourself, of being fake, of not being real, and disengaging with reality. And then it causes a break because then now, like, let's say that you're saying sorry, like for that other person, whether they like consciously realize it or not, it's still not a real sorry, and so they're either going to know that your sorries don't mean anything, or your relationship with that person is going to be altered forever because now that person is assessing you as something fake because you're not actually being real. And if they're willing to let go of that, maybe for good or bad, if they're willing to let go of that, it puts you into this particular pattern in the relationship where if something happens, it's like, yeah, they did go do that thing. Like your sorry doesn't matter. Your sorry's useless because you've given it away before it had utility. So I know this one's been a little bit more on like the heated side. There's definitely some fire to this particular episode. Um, but it's because I see this around me and it definitely stimulates me. It's something that I do my best to be conscious of as I'm utilizing it. And it's something that you really feel, or at least I do. Like if I'm like I don't enjoy making mistakes. I don't enjoy or what we deem as mistakes, right? I consider everything to go the way that it's supposed to. But what I would deem as a mistake are doing things that don't necessarily have the results that line up with what I originally wish the result would be. And it doesn't, line up with how I figured life would play out. And and so it has made me look at this, by not wanting to upset people, by really actually like feeling the hurt when I make someone upset. It's pointed me directly at this topic because I feel that by utilizing it, people are actually, if anything, they're doing the reverse. They're relieving themselves by saying sorry. Saying sorry is them giving you their distress. They are removing their culpability, their guilt, their direct tie, and their control and power. They're giving themselves up. That's literally what it is. Because to be sorry would be to change. It's not complicated. Like that's actually being sorry. And so for me, the word is very useful for communication and relation. So if you want to express to someone, hey, I want you to know that I deem whatever just happened to not coordinate and not be in line with like who I am and with what I'm doing, like I really want you to know that. Cool. Then like maybe enter the engagement of the apology, or maybe, maybe choose to speak directly, maybe say, hey, I want you to know that I am upset about the way this went down. I care about you, and so I'm going to do my best. And here's where it's interesting. Maybe the best apology is communicating what has changed, like what's different between the person that did the thing or the situation or what happened and the current reality of life. For me, that's a true apology. That's an actual apology. That's really being sorry and then expressing it versus experiencing the distress, experiencing the bad feelings of hurting someone or hurting the world, and then just saying it. Just being like, okay, well, to alleviate this, I communicate it. So therefore, okay, I'm sorry. And then you let go of it. And I still feel that that's a useful step. So maybe I shouldn't bring as much fire to this because it's still like that's still the first step is being able to admit that something's off. But to me, like if you're going through the internal process of being sorry, you skip that, like you essentially skip that step because to like when you are sorry, you don't say it. You don't like remove it. You either are it or you're not. And so the next pieces are just for how you relate. The next part of what you do is an action step. And so that's where, again, I see most often people utilizing the action step as like relieving themselves through the action of just saying it, where I feel that the truth behind being sorry is actually like bringing it inside instead of throwing the sorry outside and attaching it to the environment, saying it relates to that. For me, the apology is inside. The apology is understanding how we relate and then changing. So hopefully this brings some value for you. It brings me tremendous value. Um, and I dare you to practice it, play with it a little bit. See how you feel in situations that you maybe wish were different, or maybe there's something that you wish you had done differently, and see how it impacts you. For me, what I find is that by going through this process, it sticks more often. I'm able to actually make fewer mistakes that are in the same genre or pattern, and it makes me feel better. I feel that I'm more in harmony, more in sync. And honestly, I learned through the process too. Oftentimes, through doing these things, through not often, almost all the time, through mistakes or through things that we do that we don't necessarily feel good about, those act as an amazing tool. I call it corrective coding to point us in the right direction and to give us insight about the truth of the world. So it literally directly harmonizes us and engages us with life. I might talk about that topic next week for you guys. So anyway, I appreciate you as always, warriors. Be awesome, be beautiful, be yourselves.